So hello everyone and welcome to Career Launcher. So in today's class, we are going to discuss about the recent Nepal crisis. So I'm sure you must be aware we have seen the Gen Z protest happening. Actually, the protest became so bigger that the prime minister had to resign, and the protest became even violent. Also, they started attacking buildings, government buildings, parliament, Supreme Court, and many other things. So in today's class, we are going to discuss in detail about the Nepal, and we will discuss a little bit about the history of Nepal as well. Like, for example, the previous rulers, when the kingship was abolished, when was the constitution of Nepal formed, etc. So these are the things we are going to discuss in today's class. So let us begin with the first question. So the first question says, in which year Nepal was recognized by British as an independent sovereign state? Your options are 1816, 1923, 1948, 1951. So basically, the British recognized Nepal as the independent sovereign state in the year 1923. Okay, so in 1816, actually, Treaty of Sugoi happened. And this treaty happened between English East India Company, which was ruling in India at that time, and the Nepal. And this Treaty of Sugoi recognized the borders between India and Nepal. So borders between, I would say, British India, because at that time British were controlling. So between British India and Nepal. Okay. Okay. And later on in 1923, the British agreed, like they recognized that Nepal is an independent sovereign state. So here the right answer is B is the right answer to this question. So you can see it here. So Treaty of Sugoi 1816 established diplomatic relations and defined borders, but did not make Nepal a British protectorate. But in 1923, it was formally recognized as a sovereign country by the British. Okay. Now let's move on to the next and a very important topic, and that is regarding the kingship. So till even 21st century, we had seen kingship in Nepal. Okay. So in which year the kingship was abolished in Nepal? Your options are 2006, 2008, 2012, 2003. What is the right answer to this question? So if you know the answer, please write it. I'll be very happy to know. The right answer is option B, 2008 is the right answer to this question. Okay. So Nepal became Federal Republic after dissolving the kingship on 28th May 2008. Okay. So exact date is 28th May. So before that, Nepal was a kingship, or you can say a Hindu monarchy is also the term being used. But now after that, they became Federal Republic or Federal Secular Republic. So you can see on 28th May 2008, it became a secular republic in 2008, ending the world's last Hindu monarchy. So this is what you should be knowing. So the date is also important because in this context, since these things are in the news, you should be knowing about this. C is the right answer to this question. Let's move on to some of the prominent kings. I'm just giving you an idea about it, about the prominent kings during the or the rulers of Nepal. So there was a king called as Tribhuvan Bir Bikram Shah, somewhere around from 1911 to 1955. He ruled. That is what you should be knowing. Then after that, King Mahendra Bir Bikram Singh was there from 1955 to 72. Just have a rough idea. You're not supposed to go in that detail. Then next is King Birendra Bir Bikram Shah from 1972 to 2001. Okay. During his time, actually, Jan Andolan or People's Movement happened in 1990. Then and after that, it became a constitutional monarchy. It means there was a kingship, but yes, there were some sort of election also used to happen with multi-party democracy. Okay, that is what you should be knowing about. Now, this person, Mr. Bir Bikram Shah. So just remember it that there was Jan Andolan movement. So there was a movement that happened during that time as well. And this person, King Birendra Bir Bikram Singh, was killed in a royal palace massacre in 2001. That is what you should be knowing about. So Nepalese royal massacre. Okay. So King Birendra and Queen Ashwarya were killed in a mass shooting, and it is said that it was done by Crown Prince Dipendra. So the allegation was that there was a prince in his own kingdom, Dipendra, who actually killed them, and actually he killed himself. He tried to kill himself, but he went into coma. He did not die. So for those 3 days, he was the king. You'll be surprised to know. For 3 days. So he was in coma, but he was made the king, which has no meaning as such. But yes, that was there. So Dipendra was declared as king while in coma condition after murdering his father and brother. So these were his relative only. He killed them. Then of course, after he died, 3 days later, his brother, like King Gyanendra Bir Bikram. So King Gyanendra Bir Bikram was actually, Gyanendra was brother of the Birendra. Birendra, who was killed, who was assassinated. So this person, he was assassinated by Dipendra. Okay. So after his assassination, Dipendra shot himself, but he went into coma. He did not die for 3 days, and for 3 days he was the king. Then after, his brother Birendra Bir Bikram's brother Gyanendra became the king. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. King Gyanendra Bir Bikram Shah became the king, and he was the king for 7 years. What he did was he dissolved parliament. Why I'm saying dissolved parliament? Because yes, we have seen here after the Jan Andolan of 1990, there was constitutional monarchy with multi-party democracy. It means there was a king, but at that same time there was parliament also. Like we have in the case of England, that is also the best example of constitutional monarchy. So you'll find even a king there. The concept of kingship is there, but at the same time there are prime ministers. So something similar was there. So this concept was again abolished by King Gyanendra Bir Bikram Shah, and he took himself as with the absolute power in 2005-6. However, again Jan Andolan 2 happened. The second Jan Andolan happened in 2006, which forced him to restore the parliament. So again the parliament was restored, which was actually abolished by the same person. And in 2008, the monarchy was finally abolished because of the powerful protests, etc. And he had to leave the post. And since then, since 28th May 2008, it became a federal democratic republic. Okay, that is what you should be knowing about. Let's move on to the next one. The new constitution of Nepal came in the year 2015, 14, 19, 2009. What is the right answer to this question? The right answer is option A, 2015 is the right answer to this question. So this also became very important just after the earthquake. So earthquake happened in April 2015. In Nepal, a very deadly earthquake had come, which impacted many lives. So after that, in September 2015, the constitution of Nepal came into force. That is what you should be knowing about. So Nepal crisis drags on as Madhesis reject charter amendment. See, what happened was this constitution was brought, but India and the people of India did not like it. And the reason was because there's a people living in Nepal. They are actually Indian origin people. Okay, they are living in Nepal called as Madhesis. Okay. So they are considered as ethnic minorities because, of course, Nepali people are there in majority. So they were actually not given enough rights, or you can say, I would say they are being discriminated. Okay. That is what you should be knowing. Okay. So what happened was after that, like you can see it here, why is Nepal's new constitution controversial? So Madhesi group says citizenship measure will discriminate against them. So Madhesis, which are the minority group in Nepal, which comprises of Indian origin people, they said that there will be a discrimination against us. And you can see there are a lot of articles coming during that time, 2015, etc., especially regarding the 2015 constitution of Nepal being discriminatory against Madhesis. So it was very much in the news at that time. Okay. Yes, what happened after that? Yes, so let me show you. So basically, there are people from Uttar Pradesh and Bihar which are living in Nepal. So there is actually marriages also keep on happening across the border. So a lot of Indian origin people are there in Nepal. So these are called as Madhesis. And Nepal constitution, it was formed in 2015 in such a way that it was discriminatory. So Madhesis are ethnic and cultural community living in Terai, etc. So in these regions, okay, so the border of Bihar, UP, etc. So they were actually discriminated. That is why they protested. Even India also wrote a letter. So India supported a federal democratic republic conclusive constitution. We know the promulgation in Nepal today of a constitution. However, we are concerned about the violence. The differences should be resolved in a dialogue, in a possible free from violence and intimidation. These are the things you should be knowing about. Why India is concerned about Nepal's constitution? So you can read about it. And at that time, Mr. S. Jaishankar was the Foreign Secretary of India. So the document defined the Nepal as a secular republic in 2015. So India's ambassador went and talked to the Prime Minister, etc. at that time and expressed their disappointment. Now, what happened after that? So I've told you somewhere around September 2015, Constitution of Nepal was formed. So after that, since till February 2016, there was a blockade. India imposed an unofficial blockade to Nepal. See, first I'll show you from the map. So Nepal gets benefited from India, especially ports from India. For example, if a goods comes to at Kolkata ports through the roads, highways, it reaches the Nepal. And Nepal is very important. So these things were blocked unofficially. So it was actually very much in the news, and even the Nepal was not very happy. Anger against India over blockade snowballs in Nepal. So from September 2015 till February 2016, we had seen blockade. Okay, 4-month blockade of its border with India has posed erstwhile Himalayan kingdom back to the dark ages. So because India had done blockade, although it was unofficial, and after that there were protests, etc. The blockade, they said, the blockade is being imposed by ethnic Madhesis inhabiting southern plains who believe the new constitution does not give them fair representation in parliament. That is what. So there were protests that started happening, and it was said that Nepal is now after that, because Nepal was very much dependent on India. Of course, because a lot of Nepalis are working in India also. I'm sure you must be aware they are getting their jobs, benefit, etc. Plus, they are actually from food, fuel, and other perspective also, Nepal is getting benefited from India. Okay. After the blockade, China's push into Nepal. So what happened was, after that, there was some news that China, that perhaps Nepal is moving closer to China, and in fact, this started article coming out. So in 1989 also there was some sort of blockade was imposed by India on Nepal. So something similar was there at that time in the news. So nowadays, like if you see December 2024 news, that Nepal went and signed China's Belt and Road Initiative. And I'm sure you must be aware of Belt and Road Initiative. If you are not aware, please watch this class. So Belt and Road Initiative is an initiative of China to connect to the rest of the world. The rest of the world with the help of railways, pipelines, gas lines, gas pipelines, and many other things, right? Like marine routes also, marine shipping routes. Okay. Now, so basically, India has not joined it. I'm sure you must be aware. I have discussed in this class why India has not joined. Belt and Road Initiative. I have discussed in this class. Okay. So just have an idea about it. The next is famous political parties of Nepal. Let's talk about that. So these are the famous political parties. Just have an idea. But these are the top 3 are famous ones, because since 2008, after the abolishing of the kingship, after kingship was abolished on 28th May 2008, we have seen these 3 parties coming to power. So Nepali Congress, center left. CPN, Communist Party Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist. CPN, Communist Party Nepal, Maoist Center. So these are actually the three main political parties, although there are other political parties also. Like RPP has been talking about restoring monarchy, etc. Let's talk about government since 2008. So government since 2008, you can see Girija Prasad Koirala became the prime minister. Then Pushp Kumar Dahal. Ab dekh lo, Nepal. They'll be either from these three parties only. Okay. So Nepali Congress, CPN, Maoist, then Madhav Kumar Nepal, CPN, UML. You can see these are the Nepali Congress mostly, right? So these are the prime ministers. You can see I have attached here, then here. Okay. Then the last one was Mr. KP Sharma Oli from CPN, UML, right? You can see Communist Party Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist. And when the protest started happening, he had to resign. And now Sushila Kargi, ex-Chief Justice of Nepal, first woman Chief Justice of Nepal, and now she's the first woman PM of Nepal. She became the Prime Minister on 9th September after the resignation of KP Sharma Oli. Okay, that is what you should be knowing about. Now, so let's talk about political party. I've told you, Nepali Congress, famous political party. Mr. Sher Bahadur Deuba, very famous politician. Ramchandra Paudel, he's actually is the president of Nepal right now. Then CPN, UML, Communist Party of Nepal, Unified Marxist Leninist. KP Sharma Oli was there at that time, like just before the protest, the Gen Z protest. Mr. KP Sharma Oli was the prime minister. Then I've told you, CPN, Maoist Center, Pushp Kumar Dahal Prachanda is what you should be knowing. Okay, so these are the things you should be knowing. These are the three main political parties. Although there are other political parties also, you can read if you are interested. Otherwise, it's not that much important. Now, let's talk about Nepal protest 2025. So I'm sure you must be aware what happened was, okay, there were huge crises. For example, there were huge inequality. Okay, so the people said that there is huge corruption among politicians. So these were the allegations. There were allegations of massive unemployment, job crisis, etc. So these were the reasons why the Gen Z means generation which was born between 1997 to 2012 roughly. They are called as Gen Z. So they started protesting against this because they believed that the politicians are corrupt, and because of which their country is not flourishing. So when the protest became bigger or slightly bigger, the social medias were also banned, which led to further protests, etc. And after that, actually, they had to resign. And then the protest became so uncontrolled that they started burning the houses, buildings, government buildings, etc. So that is what you should know. So Gen Z is actually 1997 to 2012 are generally called as Gen Z. Then we have Gen Alpha from 2013 to 2025. And then the Gen Beta, those who are born from 1st January this year till 2039. That's called as Gen Beta. Now, Nepal's Gen Z protest, democracy is unraveling or democratic renewal. That is what you should be knowing. You can read about these things were coming in the news. So on 4th September, the then ruling party CPN UML, I've told you, this is the political party of KP Sharma Oli. They banned 26 major social media platforms. This even further triggered the widespread protest. So they were already, there were silent dissent, but of course the dissent became even more powerful after the social media ban. Okay. So people died also, many were hospitalized, etc. These things were in the news. And Army Chief Mr. Ashok Raj Sigdel is there, and former Chief Justice Sushila Kargi, she has been appointed as the interim Prime Minister. Okay, so these are the things you should be knowing. And I've told you since 2015 Constitution, these three people, Mr. KP Sharma Oli, Pushp Kumar Dahal, and Sher Bahadur Deuba, only these three politicians are exchanging powers. So I have told you these three political parties also. CPN, this is from CPN, UML. Prachanda is from CPN, Maoist Center, and Sher Bahadur Deuba, Nepali Congress. That is what you should be knowing. And this protest was very much organized with the help of Instagram and other social media platforms. That is what people are saying. Yes, you can see Jan Andolan 1 we have discussed of 1990, we have already done. Similarly, Jan Andolan 2 happened in 2006 to restore the parliament. Then this is the Gen Z one, which happened in 2025. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. Yes, Jan Andolan 1, 1990. We had discussed was triggered by the Indian trade embargo because in 1989, almost around that, India had put a sort of a embargo. Embargo means a sort of a ban or a blockade. Then Jan Andolan 2, they demanded again the Constituent Assembly or Parliament again back somewhere around 2006 during the King Gyanendra tenure. And now this one is actually against the Prime Minister or actually against corruption and unemployment problems, etc. Okay. So now the protesters were saying that the original movement has been diverted even because they claim that the vandalism and arson means arjani, fire, etc., burning, setting the buildings on fire were not done by them but by some other miscreants. So किसी और लोगों ने किया, इन लोगों ने नहीं किया था. That is what you should be knowing. Okay, that is what you should know. Then there were news that perhaps there were some pro-monarchy activists also was there. They wanted to establish the kingship, but they were small in numbers. But it was not only about pro-monarchy, but it was about the overall corruption, against corruption, and many other things. And so the NGO which was involved in this was Hami Nepal, led by Sudan Gurung. So he established during the earthquake relief. This NGO was established, so it was very instrumental in this protest. Then Kathmandu Mayor Balendra Shah was there also. So this is Mr. Balendra Shah. That is what you should be knowing. Although he did not become the next prime minister, but he was also the face of the leadership. Now there were debates that whether this dissolution is unconstitutional or not because the prime minister had resigned, but he had not recommended dissolution. So there were some debates that were happening. We are not going in that detail. Just read something about the Gen Z protest, etc. And KP Sharma Oli, the prime minister, had to resign, and Sushila Karki is the interim prime minister of Nepal. She is the first woman prime minister, and she was the first woman chief justice of Nepal. Okay, that is what you should be knowing. So you can read about it. 33% of Nepal's GDP comes from remittance. Remittance means those who are staying abroad. For example, Nepali citizen staying in India and doing the job and sending back the money. Or let's say Nepalis living in, let's say, Gulf countries, let's say in Dubai, they are earning and sending back money, right? So these are the problem: unemployment, corruption, these things were in the news. And of course, on 4th September 2025, actually 26 social media platforms were banned. Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Reddit, Signal, Snapchat, all these were banned. Control. So that is why, and they were unhappy with the nepotism. They were unhappy with the nepo kids. Means they said that those who are from rich, powerful backgrounds, the politicians or the bureaucrats or children are living a lavish life, but the common people are suffering, etc. So you can see it here. These were the causes: government corruption, nepotism, social media ban, anti-corruption, student activism. But it led to riots, arsonry also. Resignation of KP Sharma Oli, right? Sushila Kargi being appointed as the interim prime minister. And House of Representative, like in India, we can say Lok Sabha or a lower house, was also dissolved. Yes, Hami Nepal is the NGO which was very much instrumental in organizing protest. So let's talk something about Nepal. So this is actually their motto. Motto is this one. This one is their motto. Mother and motherland are greater than heaven. Kathmandu is the capital. It is also the headquarters of SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Okay. So 81.2% people are Hindus. Upper house is National Assembly, which is equivalent to Rajya Sabha in India. Lower house is Lok Sabha, which is equivalent to Lok Sabha in India. Lower house and a House of Representative in Nepal. Ramchandra Podar is the president. Sushila Karki is the interim prime minister. And Chief Justice is Prakash Man Singh Rawat. Okay, that is what you should know. We have done these two also. Nepal, the currency used is Nepali rupee. I'm sure you must be aware. And they are 15 minutes ahead of Indian Standard Time. So if there is 12 p.m. in India, there will be 12:15 p.m. in Nepal. Okay. And this is the rupee Nepal exchange rate. So Nepal uses the Nepali rupee. They have their own rupee. That is what you should be knowing about. And yes, one more thing. Gautam Buddha was born in Nepal in Lumbini. That is also very famous. You should be knowing about that. So the map is not clear. Yes, this is our map. Okay. This is SAARC Secretariat. You will find it in Nepal, Kathmandu, Nepal. Okay. I'm sure you are aware of SAARC countries, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. So they comprises of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. So these are 8 SAARC countries, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, and it is headquartered in Kathmandu in Nepal. Okay. So this is all about today's class. Please subscribe to the channel, press the like button, share this video. Thank you everyone. Thanks for watching.